Okay guys, you've seen the thumbnail and you know what this one's about. This is about the Arrma Talion EXB, guys. This is the new Extreme Bash edition, and this one doesn't come as a roller. And it might, but this one on the bench is an RTR, which stands for Ready to Run. Add battery, pull trigger. I mean, it's gonna be really cool. Here's the thing about this one, guys. This is one of my favorite RC cars, and I know I say that about a lot of things, but this one is the most underrated RC car from Arrma, and it's one of those things to where I don't know how it slipped through the cracks the way it has. You know, I know it's overshadowed by its big brother, the Kraton. Everybody loves the Kraton, and I'm in that boat. I love that too. And I love the Typhon. It's high flying, it's fast, but it doesn't handle rough terrain all that well. It's more of a groomed surface kind of car. This one here is a beautiful mix between the both of them. It's a truggy, and they call it that for a reason. And this one, out of the box, will run 70 miles an hour, 6S optional gearing. This is the fastest one of the group. It's a little lower to the ground. It's got good ground. It hangs onto the ground really good. It corners really well. And it's super fast, guys. So, you know, I'm really excited. We're gonna have to dig this out right away, check out what comes in the box, then we're gonna go out and we're gonna test it. Then we're gonna tell you what broke, if anything did, and then you'll get the review at the end. So here we go, guys. Let's get it on the bench and check it out. So guys, let's take a look at what comes in the packet. Now, of course, it starts off with your regular warranty information here, and this goes through the basic warranty stuff right there, all plain and simple. Then you have this page here, and this says technical pack on this one. However, this does show you the build for the shocks. It has the explode for the entire car, which is very nice, and it covers every differential in the car, how to build them. You know, it goes all the way from your center down to your front and your rear. Each one assembles just slightly different according to this. So that's nice. Don't lose this piece. Also, this is the first kit I've seen come with the actual differential shims right there, so you can tune it. These have been sought after for a long time for all these differentials because we have gearing issues. This shim kit will solve that problem, and this comes with the kit, which is real nice. Also, you get your basic instruction manual here, and this covers everything from radio setup to differential, AVC control, how to deal with your speed control. It's all in here, guys. This is kind of a quick start. It lets you understand how the operation is intended to be used and how to deal with the vehicle. Also, you get your usual sticker kit, which this is pretty nice. Those are decent stickers. They're good to use. And this one here shows you the possible top speed for the different gearing. And speaking of gearing, guys, this packet also comes with the optional speed gear. This is a 23 tooth pinion. Now when you use this pinion, be careful because your temperatures will rise. So this isn't a pinion you're going to want to use off in the dirt. This is when you're going to want to put in, make a few speed runs and switch back to the stock ones. But with this actually in the car, we're talking potentially 70 miles an hour. That's pretty nice. Also, it comes with a pretty good toolkit as far as basic what you get with the car kits goes. It's got your tire wrench, it's got your shock wrenches there, and it's got a wide variety of Allen wrenches, albeit they're the small, cumbersome ones, but they still come with the car, so that will help you keep your car up and running if you don't already have a toolkit. And of course, optional body posts and shock plungers so you can change the way the shocks ride in the car. So that's what comes in the packet. However, guys, this is the radio that comes with it, and I've got several of these now. This is the DX3, and it does have AVC or vehicle control right here that helps control your gyro. It's got braking control, so you can give it more or less brakes to keep it from nosing over when you're full brake. It's got your steering trim, your throttle trims right there, a nice bind button. So if you need to sync it to a new transmitter or receiver, you just hold the button. When you turn it on, it'll go into bind mode and you can connect it to the new receiver just like that. On top here, you can reverse your steering or your throttle servo right there. Pretty simple. It does have the 50, 75, or 100% throttle limit. So if you have a friend that wants to test out your car but he doesn't have much experience, go ahead and kick it down to 50%. It won't go as fast. It'll be a lot more controllable. 75%, of course, is kind of an intermediate setting. And then 100%, you should know what you're doing when you get on that one, especially if you're running 6S. Right here, these indicators right here show you your battery level. If you are using the Spectrum Smart batteries, they'll display right here to let you know where they are for the car. On the tail, you've got your on-off switch, and of course, your batteries go right in the bottom, and it takes 4 AA batteries to fill that. Also, this right here has a beautiful feel to the trigger. It's very smooth, and the wheel feels awesome in the hand. Range is good. Reaction time between the radio and the car is very quick. It's, in my opinion, one of the better radios that Arrma has put out with their vehicles to date. Okay guys, now that we've been through the packet and the radio gear, let's get inside of this thing and see exactly what's in there. This looks very much like the original body because it is the same pressing, but look at the paint job in that, guys. You know, as with all the EXBs, that ghost shadowing they do on that, look at that. It's very cool looking. It really makes me want to switch this body out before we go beat it up, because that is just a beautiful paint job, and the attention to detail is everywhere on these things, right? Okay, let's see what's inside. Okay guys, having a look at this, the arms are the new version 5. It does have the push pins here for the shock absorbers, has the upgraded shock ends down here. This one has the EXB bumper designed for this particular car, very nice. These arms fit on the Creighton EXB. The outdrives here that are deep inside here where the balls go through, those are off of the Typhon, so they're a little narrower, giving this a slightly narrower stance, but the arms are off of the big truck and the outdrive hubs are off the small buggy. Also on this right here, it does have the 775 or 7075 T6 aluminum in all of the braces here, the shock towers, and the chassis. So that is very cool. It should be a lot stronger. We shouldn't have to worry too much about chassis bending. So as far as the actual structure goes, there are a couple things that I plan to change out right away. If you take a look at the back end of this, there's virtually no protection in here whatsoever. None. You're going to just pile in on the wing, and that's a bad thing. What I've noticed with this one is you need to have some sort of protection back there. So I've put this bumper on the back, and I added a wheelie bar here. And that seemed to save a whole bunch of my issues. So I have the upgrade wheelie bar that's going to go on it, and I'll give you the part number for that. I am going to change out the wing mounts. Look how strong these are, guys. These wing mounts are super strong, and the problem with that is, and this is over a lot of damage that we put these cars through, this really strong piece right here has a tendency to destroy these two bolts that go through, and it can actually destroy the top of the diff housing when you shovel it in on it. And you know, no one lands perfect all the time, guys. When you take an impact here, it transfers all that in to here, causing problems. So I am going to put a softer wing mount set on it. These are the arms from RPM. They will offset the wing a little bit, bring it back a little more, but these twist and bend before it breaks something inside the car. So I am going to switch these out. Here's the bumper that I'm going to use for it. Now this is an RPM front bumper, but if you leave this bar off of it, it will sit right underneath there and protect the rear end when it goes down. So this is a nice addition as well. And if you take a look here, you can see where the heat sink for the motor, it's right here, and it's already set for, that's right guys, a fan. So to keep it cool, it's already plumbed right here for the fan. So I'm going to add a fan right there just to keep this cool. And now let's take a look real quickly at the internals here for what we have inside the car. So this S652 servo is a 19 kilogram servo, which is an upgrade from what they put in their other ones. All metal gears inside and waterproof. This should be a nice addition. Of course, that AVC radio is inside the radio box. Here we have the 150 amp Firma Spectrum speed control. This is a brute of a speed control. You know, I really have trouble telling the difference between this one and the BLX 185, which had a bit more amp carry, but this one still does the job. And what they did here was they added a capacitor pack here to augment the normal capacitors right down in here. So when you go to throttle up, it smooths out the power rating so it doesn't fluctuate so bad, making things harder on the battery themselves. So this makes things accelerate better. It still has the 2050 motor in it. And guys, that's pretty much it. All of the linkage in here and here are all beefed up. Instead of having threaded in areas for the pins here, now they have push pins and keepers, which are a lot more stable. It just looks like a much better setup. So when we go out to take this out, guys, I am going to change it out and put the wheelie bar on it. I am going to change the wing mounts, and I am going to add the rear bumper just to protect the tail, because they do come down on the tail quite a bit. And since it is the middle of summer here, I am going to add the fan to this. Other than that, we're going to run this thing as is. We'll change nothing in the front end. We'll change nothing in the electronics. We're going to leave the stock pinion in place, and we're going to run it as it sits. So this is what it is inside the car, guys. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with what I see. Okay guys, you know, we did this off camera, but we went ahead and got all of the bits and pieces installed that we wanted to do here. And let's get this up close so you can have a look at it. Now, we did add the fan. Of course, that's right on the side of the motor there. So the fan went on easy. I don't have a cover for it right now. I will build one of those in the near future, but I don't plan to get into the deep brush or puddles today. So I don't see a problem with this. Also on the tail, we went ahead and swapped out the wing mounts for the RPM ones, which makes it a lot more flexible. And that's really important, guys. When you shovel in on one of these, this will take all of the abuse without transferring it to the internals on the car. Really important. This has saved me more than you could possibly know doing this to all my other cars. Also adding the bumper here, and I did use the top rail on it just to give it that little bit extra, but together it makes a pretty solid tail piece. So now when it stands up, it's going to stop right about there, which means I should be able to wheelie pretty good and have a good time doing that. Now, with the smaller wheels and tires than the Creighton has on it, this doesn't get on the rear wheels as easily, but it can be done, especially in high traffic situation or high traction situations such as grass and whatnot. So out in the yard, should be able to get her to stand up pretty easy. Out in the dirt, not so much. It'll skitter and corner a little better, but it won't really want to stand up as easily. Now, of course, keep in mind, guys, the Creighton tires and wheels for the 6S fit that. So do the Outcast. Check it out. This one, just for now, has the Outcast wheels and tires on it. Let me tell you, it stands up pretty easy when you get those on it. But of course, I did stiffen the center differential to give you more power to the rear wheels, and that's a different story altogether. This thing is now ready to go. We're going to charge up some batteries. We're going to take this one and this one out, and we are going to pilot through the new jumps. And we're going to go ahead and give it a shot and see how that works. So here you go, guys. Let's test these. Okay guys, we got them out here. Tina and I are gonna run them. Tina's in this one. This is the version 4 Talion, and then I've got the EXB, and we've got some pretty cool area to run in. This is our favorite area, and we're gonna just let these things fly. Are you ready for this, Tina?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, this is what's going on, guys. Oh, shit. Okay guys, so you saw the damage there. It wasn't a big jump. I really wasn't doing much. You know, everything that I was running to this point, you know, was just the kind of stuff you'd throw a battery in and go for. Literally like halfway to 3/4 into the first battery, and no big jumps, nothing, some high speed running. 4S was what I was running when this happened, guys. And I literally got maybe 2 feet off the ground. I might have been doing 10 miles an hour and I just landed on the nose. Now the problem is when you land on the nose of these things, the arms flex back a little bit. Okay, so you take a look and what we have here, guys, this is the EXB front arm. Okay, it's a standard EXB arm. Beautiful thing. Okay, just so you're aware, this is a Creighton EXB front arm. And guys, they're literally the same part, okay? Same part. All right, the difference between the EXB Talion and the EXB Creighton are the outdrives. The little piece at the end of the pillow balls. They have the Typhon outdrive on it, okay? That makes it a little narrower. It also changes the spindle length, but the rest of it is pure Creighton all the way. So basically, this is the same everything up front. The shock tower is a little bit different, but it's got the same differential housing. It's got the same arms. It's got the same sway bar. Everything's the same right down to the shock ends. So when we started having problems with this, and guys, if you haven't seen the video for the Creighton, the Brutal review, I recommend you check it out because believe it or not, it applies to this one. Okay, so we had the drive lines pop out from the differential when the body comes all the way up and this goes all the way down. It compresses so far that you can pull it all the way up and see how the ball ends are almost out of the cups. Now, throw a little backwards lateral motion on that, guys, and it pops them right out. And check this out. This is where it set them. And like I say, it wasn't even a high-speed thing. It just sort of happens. And what it is the arms are allowed to travel too far. Now, there's 2 ways that you can address this problem. One is limit the shock throw by taking, well, let's see if I got a shock absorber here. So if you take a shock absorber, and this has normal travel. Now I'm using this great big shock so that you can see it on camera, but it's the same principle that applies. Now, travel is maximum throw of the shock absorber, okay? So on the front of this car and of those 2 cars, the suspension arms allow too much. So when you run that shock all the way in, the arms go up far enough to where the balls are almost out of the cups. Okay, problem with that is all you need is a little extra impact. You need to flex those arms just a little and it spits the drive lines out. Now, this one being that it is, this one's out of the Sen Racing Reaper. And this one has a little black silicone piece in there. Do you see that? That limits the throw. So if you want to take yours and put a piece of pretty stiff silicone in there and shorten the throw, it can keep the arms from going that far. And it can also help keep it from spitting out the drive lines. That's one way of doing it. And I hear it does work. But then again, guys, if you limit how far it goes and you use this as a stopper, this only goes halfway across the arm. So it attaches there, okay? So when you attach there and this stops, you risk bending this even more. And when you put that much pressure, it sends it to the shock tower. That puts a lot of that pressure internally. What you should be doing, and this is, of course, this is completely my opinion, guys, but what you should be doing is fixing the arms, because when this comes down, the chassis should hit the ground. That way, all the extra pressure is put into the chassis and it's not put into the arms and all the working components of the front end. If that has to take it up, it's going to loosen things up, things are going to get bent, things are going to get broken, you're going to have more problems in the long run because instead of just letting the chassis slap the ground, you're putting all that through the whole working components of the front end. Now, there are many ways to do it. This is just my solve. So the solve for that, guys, is we went ahead and put these on. Now these are RPM front arms for the Creighton version 4. Now the weird thing is, I know you guys are going to go, hey, no, they are a direct replacement, guys. They're literally the same thing. Now, here's the difference, though. This is the EXB front arm. This is the version 4, and this one comes from RPM. The shocks attach in the same place. The sway bar attaches in the same place. The grub screw is in the same place. Everything is same place, part for part. You don't have to change. There's only one part you really need to change. Right here where it goes through, and this part right here, where this goes through the shock absorber. This holds the shock end. The problem is, this one's a little bit longer than that one. So if you do switch to these, you need version 4 shock end pins to retain those because they're just a bit shorter. That's all, guys. Everything else is a direct replacement. So I opted to go with that route. Now, the rest of the video, this is all with that, and we're not being nice. Check this out. Oh, mackerel, that's gonna be a big one. Okay guys, there you go. That's the run for the car, and you know, we had a really good time. Tina likes playing with that one. It's a pretty cool car to run, and you know, when it comes to speed between the EXB and the standard Talion, it's really pretty much the same thing. They've got the same motor, same gearing, same tires, same axles, same arms. You know, the EXB arms are healthier, but the distance and all that's the same. So it doesn't have any change in wind resistance, same wing, same body style. Everything's identical between the two, and they handle pretty much the same. Now, one thing about it is, this particular one here, I've gone through it and I've redone the diffs, changed the oils and fluids to get it to handle the way I want it to. And I did the shock oils to get the car to handle properly, at least in my opinion. Now, this one is a standard Talion, but it is RPM'd all the way out. It's got the wing mount. It does have all 4 corners with the RPM arms on it, the RPM bumper on the front, and it's just, you know, I even have one on the back of it. It's just a really tough car. Now, it does have its weak points, but that's not what we're here to talk about. This one here is a pretty good car. Now, the thing about this one is, yes, I'm not a fan of the front arms, and of course, here they are again, guys. This arm here, not a great design in my opinion. Yes, it's tough. Yes, it's brutal. But yes, it does transfer a lot of the power from the wheel side to the internals of the car, and that makes it a lot harder on everything. When you use the RPM ones, and that's these, of course, when you use these flex. So when you hit something, it allows this to bend as opposed to putting all that energy into the car itself. It takes it up on the outside. And the way this works in the suspension, you've seen the long jumps, the high jumps I was doing with them. Guys, I pinned it to get those, and it hit hard. It hit on the nose, it hit on the side. I had cartwheels. Everything that you saw there was full tilt on that, and I didn't spit one part out or break anything. Changing out these arms, in my opinion, is the way to solve that problem. I had no shock problems. If I would have tried to limit the shock throw, I think we would have had problems there. So in my opinion, and keep in mind, guys, this is all my opinion, but in my opinion, this is the way to go to fix that. Now, the problem being, when I did actually, you know, and you saw it, it was small. I lumped, I hit the ground, and it locked everything up. And it went ahead and blew out the servo as well. Now, this is the S652. This is the almost 19 kilogram servo, that all metal gearing and all that stuff. And this one, it's a paperweight. There's nothing good about that servo left. I had to buy a Savox servo to replace it, and I got a really high RPM one. It's really fast, it's really powerful, and it was a good change, but it did add $125 to the cost of the vehicle, since that one went to hell on me. So it was a simple accident. It wasn't anything that you wouldn't expect. I mean, you come over a little lump in the ground and you land on the nose. Dirt simple, right, guys? Not so much with the EXBs. Now, here's the thing. If you go back and check out the Creighton EXB review and look at the brutal review, that's the one where all this information is. In the brutal review, you'll see that that repeatedly spits the front drive lines out, and it did it enough to absolutely destroy the outdrive cups on the front differential. And of course, I did a diff video on how to fix that. But the problem is, and we talked about this, guys, these arms and these arms, everything in there except the shock towers is the same. So you're going to have the same problem. When you flex it all the way up and torque them back a little bit, it pops the drive lines out. It's the way it's designed. They can do better, and hopefully in the next iteration of this car, that will be handled. Aside from that, guys, you know, I can't tell you the actual top speed. What we did do was we kept the original gearing. We did not put the speed gear in it, and I have the original gearing in that one as well, and they are toe to toe. To go beyond that, let's talk about the durability. Once we got past the front arm issue, and we didn't actually break one of the arms, guys, it just allowed something tragic to happen. It didn't break anything. So is it durable? Yes. Is it designed correctly? I really don't think so. I think their tolerances are too high. They're not keeping things close in enough to where they can contain the moving parts. But other than that, I literally broke nothing. Keep in mind, I did have to add, well, have to is a rough word. I did add, you know, the wheelie bar in the back and a rear bumper just to give it something there, because every now and then you do shovel it in on the tail. I did land on the tail several times, broke nothing. When I shoveled it in on the tail with this one, I destroyed the rear differential because the wing mounts are so stiff, it just ripped the back end apart. So that's in the other video as well. However, doing that first saved all that. Those RPM wing mounts, they did bend. I just torqued them back into place and it stayed. No damage, no problems. Everything works. Is it a tough truck? Yes, guys, it's a tough truck. And being low to the ground, I mean, they're real similar, guys. This one does sit a little bit higher. It does have a little bigger tires on it, so it's a little more controllable in the air. This one, when you get it in the air, the tires don't have quite as much mass as they have on this one. So controlling your attitude in the air, it's a little more tricky. You kind of have to come off the ramp with nothing so you can have some throttle or brake. If you come at it full pin off of the ramp, you don't have any throttle. You're already tacked out. So these don't really have the right mass that these do. When they grow up and you hit the brakes, you can cartwheel and tumble way easier with the Kraton than you can the Talion. But the Talion is more of a speed demon than it is an actual monster truck. These ones here are designed to just handle everything. And once you do the upgrades we suggest in the other video, you're going to have a really durable, tough truck that you can just blast into just about anything. This one here, I will consider this one its little brother. It does about the same thing, but of course it has a smaller wheelbase, not lengthwise, but sideways because of the different outdrives on it. And the wheels are a little smaller as well. So that also changes the offset here. This here has a little bit of a counter. This one is almost flat down, so it's narrower by quite a bit, but it's low to the ground, super fast and fun to play with. So there's that. And the tires, of course, these are really good on tuned surfaces. However, when you get in the off, it's not, they don't handle as well as, say, the Kraton tires because they're a little more. And that's all there really is. They're more. So there's a lot more area to get in and over stuff. You can climb through things. This really does a great job in the off-road area. This one, it really does a great job in the groomed area. So hey guys, it's time for our 4 questions. And question number 1 of the 4 is it fun? Well, guys, I love this particular kind of car. This is literally one of my very favorite cars to play with. And this one gets right in there with it. It's an outstanding vehicle to play with, and it's cool to watch run. It looks angry when you pin it. So fun factor, it is a lot of fun. I mean, it really is. The problem is this is an out-of-the-box video, and since it did have the problems with the front end here and it did burn up a servo, that did cost me a little of my fun there. So I'm going to have to give this one 8 out of 10 for fun. And question number 2, is it durable? Well, this thing has a pretty high durability rating. The arms are super strong. Nothing actually broke going through the whole car. Yes, it did pop out the drive lines, but it did not break anything, and we torture tested this car. So, as far as durability goes, it did burn down the servo, and that was a direct cause by the drive lines getting wedged in and pulling everything up and putting some pressure on the servo. It was fighting to get straight, and it burned it clean out. There was nothing I could do. It happened really fast. So for me, durability, because it was able to self-destruct and it cost me more money to get it back up and running, I'm only going to give this one 7 out of 10 for durability. And then, of course, question number 3, guys, value. Is this thing worth the money? Well, now this is something we should take a little look at here, because these, all right, here, this is the stock Talion, and it's not all that expensive. It does come with a lower class radio. The new one comes with the DX3, which is a damn good radio, and it does have some pretty nice controls that the other one did not have. However, that's only one small thing. They did try to do an upgraded servo in the new one, and that didn't pan out very well, at least not for me. Upgrading it to the Savox servo really increased the speed of things, and it worked very well after I did that. This car right here came in right around 500-ish, right in there when I bought it, so it wasn't all that spendy. This one came out of the box at $725. That was before tax, guys. That was just the plain cost of the vehicle. You do get some pretty cool upgrades, and it does have the 7075 T6 aluminum in most of the parts that are in there. And they did do a really good job of beefing it up and improving things. However, if money's tight for you guys, if $700 is going to make you go and have discussions with the wife about it, because that is a large amount of money, this might be your better option. And that is simply because it is a ready-to-run vehicle. It is fun. It is durable. The parts are still pretty cheap for it. And the upgrades the RPM arms and stuff, they're not very expensive. And once you do the small upgrades to it, that is one very bad machine. It is way fun to play with, and you can get the same thrill ride that you get with this one with that one. However, if you need to have all the bells and whistles, you need to have the best aluminum. And keep in mind, guys, I think they should just put that kind of aluminum in all their cars anyway. Going cheap like that, I think that's a cop-out from Arrma. I think they should just invest in putting the right stuff in the cars to begin with so we don't even have this problem. But, you know, if you got to have all the bells and whistles, you need to have the stiff arms, you have to have the 70-75 aluminum and everything. If you've got to have all that, the best radio, the gyro and all that, there's only one way to get it, guys, without building it yourself. And that's this right here. So, you know, as far as that goes for value, since you can get the same thrill out of the stock Talion with just some minor tweaks, I'm only going to give this one 6 out of 10 for value, guys, because it's so close and yet so far away. And question number 4, finally, where does this stack up in my collection? Now, I'm going to rate these two together because basically for me, it's a class car. It's a class car. When I did the EXB Creighton, I ranked it right next to the version 4 because it didn't really matter which one you had in your hand. If you switch the body, it's the same car. It's got the same kind of arms, basically. It has the same motor, same drivetrain, blah, 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 right? So this and this are basically identical except for the price tag. And if I swap the bodies, you'd have to look for that red aluminum to know the difference as to which one's which. So for me, this really is one of my favorites, guys, and this one is right there with it. So I'm going to bump the UDR in this video, and we're going to put this one in 4th place, shunting the UDR down to 5th, and the Talion takes over place number 4 in my collection. Hey guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. It's awesome when you do, and it lets us know here at the studio whether we're heading in the right direction or not. You know, these cars are spendy, and we're getting these so we can help you. Yes, I enjoy playing with these, and we do take them out and have a really good time with them, but at the end of the day, you're going to want to know whether this is something you should invest in, and that's kind of what we're trying to help you with. So here at the studio, we enjoy this kind of thing, but you know, if you've got a comment about this particular car, because that's what the video is about. If you have a mod, if you know something about the car that we didn't cover here, please feel free to leave it in the comments down below and help others along the way. Hey guys, I'm AJ with AJJAMStudios saying, keep bashing, guys.